With the build-up of Christmas and New Year's over, it's back to dreading the start of a new school year.
Oh, God!
And for a lot of students, it can sometimes be difficult to make that transition from holidays back to school. But I believe there's 5 things you can be doing right now that will ease the transition and make life a lot more easier when school does start. So let's get into it. So the first thing you can be doing right now before school even starts is fixing up your study habits. And I believe any good habit is built on a fundamental concept shared by James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, a self-help book that has sold more than 25 million copies globally. And the concept goes,
we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems.
And what James is saying here is that goals are achieved by stacking good habits on top of one another, because stacked habits serve as a repeatable system for achieving any desired goal, including awesome study outcomes. So how can you set up your own go-to study system? Well, I think the first step starts with choosing the right tools. And I believe there are 3 that you need. A place to take quick notes during class, so that could be pen to paper, an iPad or a laptop. A place to organize and store those notes long-term, so maybe a Notion database or a Microsoft OneNote or even a Google Drive. And then lastly, a place to review and test yourself, so Anki, Quizlet, or even physical flashcards. And step 2 is all about creating a simple workflow that you can follow on a daily basis. Here was mine. During class, I would focus on understanding the concepts themselves by jotting down key points. Not everything word for word, but things that I knew were important. Then that night or the next day, I would expand those notes into a Notion database. I love Notion. And by the end of the week, I would turn any tricky concepts into flashcards and review them. So take notes, organize them, and make a few flashcards for review. And it's simple as that.
Are you serious?
But honestly, none of that will matter if you don't do the next thing right now. As humans, we actually sleep for 1/3 or 26 years of our lives. Yet, most of us suck at it. Sleep is when our brain actually starts to process everything we've learned for the day, consolidate memories, and resets our focus for tomorrow. And so without proper sleep, your study habits and system will be completely useless. So here's some of the things you can do right now to achieve better sleep. First of all, lock in a consistent time to go to bed. As long as you're getting a minimum of, I would say, 7 hours of sleep, it does not matter what time you wake up. And number 2 is to have a shutdown routine before bed. Do not read heavy material or stare at a screen. Try and avoid stimulating the brain and instead focus on low effort things like listening to music or a podcast or even conversing with family. Now, a while ago, I made a video explaining some of the reasons why people still feel very tired despite having got 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You can watch that video here, but in a nutshell, don't do brain stimulating activities just before bed, don't drink any form of liquid just before bed, and don't go to sleep without a plan for tomorrow. If you do all of this, I promise you, you will never complain about crap sleep again. Now, someone in your lifetime has probably told you that your behavior is a function of your environment, and it's damn true. And so before school starts, spend some time tidying up your study space and making it a place where studying actually becomes second nature. The must-haves in your study space include a monitor and laptop or iPad, a notebook and pen, a water bottle, and a lamp if you need better lighting. That's it. I would also make sure your phone stays out of this environment. For example, you can set up your charging station somewhere else other than your study environment. We want to add as much friction as we can for bad behavior, making it harder to indulge in those bad habits. And so when your study space is set up correctly, the friction for good behavior, like studying, becomes a lot more easier. Now, getting organized can be as easy as sitting down and just planning out your entire year. You can use a digital or physical calendar to block out term dates, public holidays, major assessment periods, exam blocks, and any personal commitments you might have throughout the year. Now, of course, you probably won't be able to fill out everything just yet, but you'll have a rough idea of when everything takes place for the year and plan ahead accordingly. I'd also recommend picking a day in the week when you can sit down for about 15 minutes and review what's coming up for the week ahead, update your to-do list, and even check if there's anything you're forgetting. And you can treat this review as essentially a safety net. Even if the week gets very chaotic, you've got that one checkpoint wherever it might be in the week where you can catch up on anything that's slipping through the cracks. Now, I think I've saved the best for the last, or at least what I think a lot of students underestimate. So if you've gotten this far to the video, I hope you enjoy this last thing that you can be doing before school starts. It's surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be people who always get straight A's or have their life figured out, but people who have actual goals, people who care about growth, people who push you to be better without making you feel crap about where you are right now. You can have the perfect sleep, you can have an amazing study system, a clean desk, but if you're surrounded by people who don't take school seriously, or who mock you for trying, or who constantly pull you into distractions, none of the other stuff will actually matter. Remember how I talked about how behavior is a function of our environment? Well, it applies here too. The people you end up spending the most time with will shape your habits, your mindset, your outcomes, and ultimately your behavior more than anything else. So before going into the new school year, take a hard look at your social circle and ask yourself, do these people make me want to be better? Do they support my goals, or do they make fun of them? When I'm around them, do I feel energized or drained? Now, if the answer to a majority of those questions isn't so great, it might be time to expand your circle. Right? Note that I use the word expand. So you don't necessarily have to get rid of and cut off your friends, but instead add new people into your group who are heading in the direction you want to go. If you were to only take one thing from the 5 things I've suggested in this video, let it be this one. All right, so there you have it. The 5 things you can be doing right now before school even starts to prepare yourself for the new academic year ahead. Now, you don't have to do all of these things all in one go. You can just pick 2 or 3 of them and you'll be miles ahead. But if you're honestly going to be taking one thing away from this video, let it be that last one, finding your people and surrounding yourself with the right type of individuals, because remember, they will shape how you behave. Now, if you found this video very helpful, consider giving it a like and commenting below what you're doing to prepare for the 2026 academic school year, and consider subscribing to the KISS YouTube channel for more specific breakdowns on study systems, time management, and building better study habits. Continue enjoying the break, and I'll catch you in the next one.